Hey, good looking. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I will be duping the vibes of the brand new Pat McGrath Venus in Fleur Luxe quad, and it is the Voyeuristic Vixen. It's a quad that has just launched along with her blush collection, and it is on sale for $58, and I thought I would dupe the vibes. I really loved this quad when I saw it, but I also see a lot of my singles in my collection, and I am drawn to using what I have in my collection to, I am drawn to using shades in my collection to give the same vibes and give the same feelings, get good use out of my collection, and also sometimes I put these palettes together and then I ended up actually purchasing palettes. So make sure you stay tuned for all that. Hi, I'm Kendra Morgan Official, and I put out content weekly centered around makeup brushes that aren't Morphe, some single eyeshadows, and sunscreen. So if you like that kind of content, make sure you subscribe down below, and let's get started. I picked out 4 shadows for Pat McGrath's new Luxe Quad. That's, by the way, $58. I love how Jackie Ina says that. Oh, goodness. I wish I could be more like her. Anyways, so we'll go over some swatches and just talk about my feelings on this quad. Here is what it looks like. I definitely duped the vibes, as there is a shade in here that doesn't really quite match the description all too well, but I felt like taking some liberties and putting a shade like this, because if I was going to put any of the shades from my Sydney Grace collection in here, I was afraid it was going to get too close to this shadow up here. I used all Sydney Grace shadows except for the duochrome in place of the Rose Fire Nectar, which is from Terra. So I also give you a Sydney Grace option, so stay tuned for swatches on that. The first shade, Morning Star from Sydney Grace, is the shade that I use in place of Moonlight Liaison, and it is described as a gleaming golden champagne. So I found this to be like a really beautiful gleaming golden champagne shadow. I think it's just fits it very beautifully. Could you brow bone highlight, bronzed to perfection is the next shadow, and that is the one I took liberties on. That is what I duped Twilight Bronze, and Twilight Bronze was a platinum bronze shimmer, and I went more with a golden bronze shimmer. I have some Sydney Grace shadows that I think would probably suit it just a little bit better to match the shade description, but this is so pigmented, so incredibly shiny, and the luster in it, I just could not resist using it and putting it in this palette. I thought it looked really complimentary and gorgeous, and you can see on the swatch there that it's just got such a beautiful reflect to it. That shine, look at that shine. It is incredible. So Bonfire by Terra is what dupes the shade Rose Fire Nectar. It is a duochrome. They describe Rose Fire Nectar as Coral Rose Duochrome, and I definitely feel like Bonfire is a Coral Rose Duochrome, probably almost trends towards a multichrome. Like, you can see a little bit of a green and golden shift to it, but they do market it as a duochrome. It's so incredibly beautiful and creamy. It's what I have on my lids today. I just love the shadow. Terra Moon's shadows are a bit on the oilier side, so they have great payoff, but they just don't last very long on my lids particularly. But I have extremely oily lids, so I do struggle with that problem anyways. And look at that coral shift. I think this one's more of a peachy shift than a coral shift, but I think it definitely gives off the vibe. And for a dupe that stays within Sydney Grace, Princess Pepe gives off a really nice fiery red with a little bit of a golden coppery orange undertone. You can kind of see it there as I shift my hand a little bit. I feel like that truly captured a nice story. Chocolate Raspberry Fudge is the shadow that I used in place of After Dusk, and After Dusk is a mahogany brown matte, and you'll see that this pretty much fits that description. It's a nice beautiful matte brown, maybe not quite so much mahogany, maybe more brown, but I love it. I think it's beautiful. You'll see here I am building up the opacity to the desired depth that I want with a couple extra swatches, so mine has to be built up but that's something that I don't mind. You can see right there that I've got quite a bit on my finger and not a lot of transfer. So I think it just might be one of those shadows that doesn't really quite swatch all that great. There you have it. That's a beautiful quad that I put together to dupe the vibes of the Pat McGrath Venus and Fleur Luxe Quad Voyeuristic Vixen. Awesome. So there's the 4 shadows that I used to dupe the quad of the Voyeuristic Vixen quad that is for sale on Pat McGrath's website. I really drew a lot of inspiration. I found her selection to be absolutely gorgeous. However, I felt that the 2 shades here were really kind of similar in shade, but just maybe, or excuse me, similar in hue, but maybe not so much in shade. So I went ahead and took liberties and put the bronze to perfection in there to give it a really true fleur bronze. I think it suited the palette really well. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this little liberty that I took. On my eyelids today, I did go ahead and put the Terra Moon's Bonfire on, and then in the outer crease, I put the chocolate raspberry fudge, and then I did add a little bit of a brown bone highlight today with the Morning Star from Sydney Grace. So I gave you guys 4 options for the Sydney Grace, but then I gave you guys my dupe with my single eyeshadows that I found in my collection, 3 of them being Sydney Grace and 1 being Terra Moon's. What do you guys think I did? Let me know in the comments down below, and I am so glad you're here if you're new, so make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Can't wait to see you guys in my next video. Bye.